In this video, we're going to learn how to isolate objects in a picture. And when I say isolate, what I mean is we're going to get rid of the background. We're going to do this by using a tool that we learned in the water tower project called masking. And that's right over here. So one that looks like a rectangle with a circle. The way that we do this is we start off by using our good friend, the polygon lasso tool. Okay, and I'm going to select all around this couch. And I'm not doing such a close job because I can fix it later. Right now what I'm more concerned about is just getting a general shape. The closer you do it in the first place, the less work you'll have to do later, so it does behoove you to try getting a nice selection in the beginning. But I'm going to do this a little quickly because I want to make the video shorter. Okay, so I'm just clicking to select it. I think I want to include the garbage can because I think that'll be fun. The garbage can is part of the mess, I guess. Maybe I should have made it fuller if I wanted to make the point about how messy stuff is. But oh well. That being the case, I guess I could always reshoot the picture, but for now, the point stands. So I'm including this bag of Dum-Dums and this sweatshirt. And then I'm almost finished. Okay, we're almost at the end. Okay, once I have the selection, I can now go ahead and hit this mask tool. I want to make sure that layer 0 is selected, not the hue saturation adjustment layer. So if layer 0 is selected, we can get the mask on layer 0. So now I'm going to hit this, and now we have the couch, and the background is gone, which is great. It's exactly what we want. Now to fix it up, because we see that I left some parts in here that don't really belong. So what I can do is select these areas and fill them in with black. So I would get the paint bucket. I did that by hitting the letter G, and then you fill this in with black. You can also use the paintbrush tool to paint it in black, and I get the paintbrush tool by hitting the letter B. So now I'm going to hit Command or Control deselect. You don't necessarily need to use the selection tool when you're using the paintbrush tool. I like to because it helps me be careful, but we can also just make the paintbrush smaller by going to the top control center and changing the paintbrush size. And then you can just, being really careful and zooming in, just paint away the parts that don't belong using black. Now if you accidentally, let's say I accidentally do that, which we don't want because we want the whole couch, then I would be painting in white to get it back. And this, by painting in white, we get the selection back. And that's because, if you can tell by the thumbnail, whatever is black is invisible, and whatever is white is visible. So now we're just going to paint in black until we like how the couch looks. We want it to be as clean as possible. I just hit undo to get rid of that. I'm going to use the selection tool because this part is pretty straight, which means that if I use the selection tool, I'll probably get a nicer edit right here. So now I'm going to hit B to get the paintbrush tool back. Oh, I accidentally hit the clone stamp tool. But what we want is the paintbrush tool, which is the letter B. And then we just paint that in. Now I hit deselect. And that's how you would go around the entire object, filling it in. Now I want to point out that Photoshop has a bunch of different selection options. For the last project, we focused mostly on the polygon lasso tool because it's the most versatile. There are other tools. You can try using the quick selection tool or the magic wand tool depending on how simple your shape is. I'm going to go back and undo all of this. Undo, let's see, or yeah, I'm going to hit undo. We're just going to go backwards And we're going to try using one of these tools to see how it works. So this is the quick selection tool. What it does is very simply, it quick selects. So um, it identifies the darks and the lights, and it tries to make selections based on that. We can make this brush, this size a little bigger so we can see it better, right? And so if I drag over it, see, it's identifying what it thinks I want to select. And it's doing a pretty good job actually, and you'd want to then just go hit shift, which lets you add to your selection. So this is we can see that it's a lot faster than using the polygon lasso tool. What I want to point out is that when you use the quick selection tool, you end up accidentally over selecting sometimes. So I can hit back, command or control Z, and just leave that be because it seems like it's just going to extra select over there, and that's because this shape over here is very similar to this gray over here. The two grays make it so we select too much. So I just hit Command V, and now I'm just going to go this direction and select this part. Okay. And then we can select more. And we can keep selecting. And now what I would suggest is when we get to a part where it becomes too difficult to keep selecting, like over here we see that this gray and this gray really do blend into one. So if we want to do that, now what we can do is switch to the polygon lasso, and we hit shift so we get the plus sign, and now I can add to the selection using the polygon lasso. So I think the best way to get these selections is really to mix and match these tools together. And that way you don't have to do, you want to get the best selection possible, and I typically think that the best way to do that is by mixing and matching these tools. Okay, so now let's just close that selection. Now we see that this also needs to be included in the selection. So we just click around it, hitting shift. I want to include the Tanakh because it was part of my mess. And then I'm going to do that. And now I can add this part because it also should be part of the selection. And I'm going to include this little fox demon's pillow. And then we can have our finished selection. Really, you can mix and match these tools to get your best selection possible. Okay, now we can hit the mask icon again to see where we are. Yeah, and I think this is a pretty good selection. I see that there's stuff missing here that I accidentally left out, but we can just get it back by painting it in white. So white gets things back. So now I'm going to paint it. We want to make sure that the mask layer is what is selected, and now we want, rather than the picture icon. And now we're going to fill this in white, and I see that I got too much in, so now I can paint that away in black, and I'm going to do that by selecting it and then painting it away. So I'm going to do this part first, and then I'll do that other triangle part afterwards. Now I switch to black, and I'll get rid of it like that. And then I'd want to do that over here as well. This shouldn't be there. And this I'm going to use the paintbrush to get rid of. I'm going to make the paintbrush a lot bigger. And just paint that away. Okay, and deselect. Another selection tool that you can try using is the object selection tool. That's a new recent update for the 2020 Photoshop. I want to show it to you on this picture over here. So what it does is it tries finding an object. This one's going to be a little complicated because of these drawers behind it. So what I want to do is just select the first top part or this side of the chair. Let's see how well it recognizes my shape. It did an okay job. Now I'm going to hit shift to get the rest of it, to get other parts of it. Okay, it didn't get the sleeve, which is okay. So I just keep hovering over it until it gets what I want it to get. Now it's not going to be perfect, so what I'm going to have to do is make up the rest with the polygon lasso tool, like I did with the couch. So I'm just going to try including this part with the polygon lasso tool. Okay, and then I would just go in. Here I'm going to use option because this part shouldn't be there. And if you hit option, you get the minus icon, and that lets you subtract away from the selection. And I can do that over here as well. Now we want this part to be included, so now I'm going to hit shift and include this. I'm going to hit shift and include this over here. Ooh, undo. I accidentally let go of the entire thing. There we go. And now if I hit mask, we want the background to be chosen. We need to unlock it or it's not going to do anything. So we need to have the background, the layer 0 selected, and then we hit the mask icon, and we're masked. It's a little jagged, and to fix it, you would just use the paintbrush tool and paint in either black or white, depending on if you want the parts to come back or go away. So here, right, so that we'd want to get rid of so we can paint in black. And that is how you isolate pictures in Photoshop.